Hello.
Hello?
Sorry for being late. I was meeting with someone else.
No worries at all.
And sorry about yesterday as well. I guess lots of things
Uh,
to apologize about.
it's no worries. It's no worries at all. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm alright. I'm okay, thanks. Whereabouts in the States you from?
What'd you say?
Whereabouts in the States are you from?
Oh, I'm from the Midwest. I live in Ohio.
Alright.
Yeah. And where are you from?
Scotland, so.
Okay. Cool. I don't think I've ever coached a Scottish person before. Well, yeah. Do you have a replay that you want to look at together?
yeah, well, I've not thought about that, but yeah, if you want.
Oh, I just realized that I never actually asked you to find a replay. That's on me. Um,
Yeah, no worries. I'm sure I can find one.
I'll be honest, I'm I'm impressed with myself how well I've been I've so far I think I've coached like 25 people since I made
God,
that post. And you were you maybe you won't believe me, but you were the first person that I missed the meeting. And I do apologize about that, but also I am a little impressed with myself that this is the first time that's happened. Um, but yeah, that's what's going on there. Um, but yeah, that's usually how I do these. I usually ask people to find a replay that they want to look at together. I just don't think that like live coaching is very useful because like when you're trying to play a game and also like sort of digest information at the same time or critique, I think that's really difficult. Um, and so I think it's just I find it more efficient just to look at a replay together.
yeah, okay, that's fine. I'm sure I can find one. That we can look at. That's no worries. Eh,
The best ones
still.
The best ones are like close games that you lost. So like games that you felt like if you played a game and you lost and like you already know what you did wrong, you know, it's like, "Oh man, that smoke gank. Okay, that's why we lost." Then there's not really much I can do. I'll just probably tell you like, "Yeah, you're right." So like I think the ones where people learn the most is if you can find a game where you lost, so presumably you made a mistake, but you don't know what those mistakes were. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. We'll go with this one. I can't really remember this one, but we'll go with this one. So, do you need me to share my screen or like?
Can you actually just send me the replay ID and then I'll share mine with
Yeah,
you?
of course. Okay, so this is the match ID. Bit of an odd one because it was like under Lord mid, which is weird. So, but it might be good to look at.
Okay. You were playing
That's the
against
match
Underlord
ID.
mid?
Yeah, I was playing
Okay.
against Underlord, yeah. And I think I think he beat me pretty well. So, um,
Okay. You're Roscoe 93.
yes, yep.
Sounds good. Oh, okay. And you're the lowest rank in this game, so
So,
that's not
so
exciting.
so I was up to Crusader 2 before, but to be honest, most of my games are against Archon or Legends. It's that I play almost exclusively in a team with people, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't play without them. I think that I could easily get to like Archon if I just played without them. To be honest with you, not that they're bad and I'm good at it. I'm
Yeah.
not. It's just that we get matched against people who are pretty good. You know. So and they're
Yeah.
both like two of my mates here are what Legends I think. Or I'm playing with one of them, which is
Yeah,
odd.
yeah, yeah.
So I think I could get to Archon pretty easily if I just played by myself. So if you look at my strats, like all my games seem to be against Archon and Legends.
Hmm.
Uh, I was actually going to give you one that was against a Divine Invoker, which seemed to be close, but
Actually, so this game we can't look at because I think it's too old. Um,
right, okay.
I think, well, usually I don't know what's going on here. So usually I know that it used to be that you couldn't watch games that were 2 weeks old, but I've recently had this problem where like games that are like older than a week or something even I get this thing where it's like because if you look at games that are like super duper old, it won't even have this like download button, but games that are like older than a week. Let's see. Yeah, like I think this one even I can't look at, unfortunately. I mean, I'd love to watch an Invoker versus Puck game, but there's just this bug. I mean, I can try to restart, I guess. Um, let's see.
Because I don't think that game's that old, is it? What was that, 4th or 8th? Yeah, so that's only it's 9 days ago.
No, yeah, I know what you're being. So like, let's see. So this one is 8. This is like some random one. Let's see if any. Let's see if I can download anything. Yeah, so this
Yeah.
one is working, but let's see. Because I was like trying to look at some of my own, even. So 8-8. Let's try an 8-8 one. See if I can watch this. Okay, so that one I can do that. Can I do wait, the Invoker one, when was that? 8-4 that you sent me?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Let's see if I can
8-4.
watch one of my own games that were on 8-4. Because then we'll know if it's just yeah, I can't even look at my own 8-4 game. Do you have anything more recent?
Yes, I've got one. Uh, we can watch from 5-4, 12-8. So last night I've got one we can watch. But I mean, I kind of know what happened in this one. This ladder just got fat. I kind of I won mid. So
Okay.
but yeah, you can see this. I'll send you this over. But I did kind of wreck mid. So
I mean,
it might be worthwhile
honestly,
seeing back at it. So
yeah, honestly I think like it's a good problem to have, I guess, if you're winning your lane. And yeah, this one should work. If you're winning your lane and you can't really transition it into other stuff. So, and this one is more around your skill level, which is nice.
yeah,
You're
but when I
playing.
play, so I was playing with my lower friend,
Mm-hmm.
and I do find when I play, when an odd occasion that I play by myself or I play with this guy, I kind of seem to win mid.
Okay.
So I just think my rank hasn't quite caught up with like where I'm at, which is probably, as I say, Archon. I think. Um,
Yeah, I think that, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you I think it's important to, I don't know, like be remember that we're playing Dota because we enjoy doing it. And so like if you like playing with your friends, that's great and you should do that. I'm just going
yeah,
to say that it is true in general that the most consistent um if you want to have very consistent games, the best way to achieve that in ranked is to queue alone and to turn on strict solo queue role queue matchmaking. Um
yeah, I haven't got that turned on actually, which is just that you don't meet teams. Is that right?
yeah, so if you are queuing solo, you will only play against other people that are playing solo.
Yeah,
And this also tends to make your games more balanced because the biggest MMR discrepancies usually happen when like, you know, you find someone in a party who's like, you know, they're guardian and they've queued with an ancient. It's like, "Oh boy, this is going to be really weird." Um and I think the most consistent games are the ones in which people are similar skill level, you know. Because like if you're playing if like you can imagine like each team is like there's like four heralds and one immortal player, you know. Well, like that affects how the game is like we're not playing normal Dota then. Now like it becomes worth it to just like 5-man smoke gank the immortal player rather than 5-man smoke gank the guardian. Like this suddenly like the player like who's playing what matters, you know. Um, so again, if you like playing with parties, you should do that. I'm not telling you to not do that, but it does tend to be more consistent if you queue solo with that turned on.
Yeah.
So you're going into Void Spirit mid here. Um,
Yep.
what's your like do you have like a plan going into this lane? Like how do you want to play this lane?
So I'm just going to try and bully him as much as I can
Mhm.
with my kind of splash damage. To be honest, is
What
what
do
I
you
have.
think what do you think are the main strengths of Void Spirit?
So I play Void. So the three heroes that I play are Void Spirit, Kunkka, and Puck. So I kind of know relatively well what kind of Void Spirit does. So going into this, I was kind of confident that like
Mhm.
that I'd be able to beat him. To be honest, but yeah, he's actually not particularly strong against like a Kunkka in my view.
I think yeah, I don't know this. I honestly I don't know if I've ever played this matchup. I just don't play Kunkka and I don't really play Void Spirit. At least not I mean I used to play a lot of Kunkka actually. He was one of my first mains. Um, but I don't like where he's at right now. I don't like where he's been at for the last few years. But anyways, that's besides the point. What do you understand to be the main strengths of Void Spirit
So
in
high
the
magic
lane
damage,
specifically?
get so yeah. Well, I guess a bit of control.
Mm-hmm.
He's got obviously the move that he can use to steal range creeps and
Mm-hmm.
shield himself as well. So a bit of sustain in lane as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, that's yeah. I don't know. He doesn't have particularly high melee damage.
That's true.
So
Yeah,
um,
so I think you're right. I think you're missing out on one key tool that Void Spirit has, and maybe this will be helpful since you play also a lot of Void Spirit. Void Spirit's attack animation is really, really good. It's one of the
yeah, really
fastest
quick.
attack
Yeah,
animations in the game, and he's a universal hero, which means that it's pretty easy for him to get his base damage up, right?
yeah.
Um, so that's something like whenever I'm playing against Void Spirit, I'm thinking about that aspect of like probably like you can definitely outplay him, but if you two are just like CSing, um, okay, um, if you two are just CSing, and not like bullying each other at all, he's gonna come out on top. All other things equal. Even though you have 77 base damage, it's just like his attack animation is really fast. So that's something I would keep in mind. And so I think you're right to prioritize harassing him because that's where you have the upper hand. But these are all things that I think are very important to think about. One thing I've noticed is that you've already lost a few range creeps because you Tidebringer the creep and then okay, so that's good. But I think that there were like maybe 2 or 3 range creeps where you like Tidebringered it and then he just denied it.
It's just denied that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that when I was playing actually, so this is quite good to watch this back.
Yeah, I think especially when you're playing Kunkka, that's kind of like the um I think that's like one of the main weaknesses of the hero early. Is like when your Tidebringer can't one-shot the range creep, um it's it makes it I mean that's like kind of his main balancing feature is the fact that uh you can't just Tidebringer off cooldown, you know. Otherwise you're gonna get your range creep denied. So like, have you thought about like some of the main, um, like sort of strategies that you can use to prevent that from happening? I noticed on the first wave you started by uh, attacking it down.
Yeah, so normally, and obviously this game I haven't done so, is that I would run and attack the range creep once or twice, and then
Mm-hmm.
run back, and then Tidebringer the one that's low health in the lane, and get a range creep at the same time.
That's good.
Or you can queue the range creep as well, which happens, but you can only do that when your Tidebringer's level 2.
Yep.
So you queue the range creep, and then and then Tidebringer. So
And I also am noticing I like how you sometimes just don't Tidebringer the range creep. You don't really want to do that early because you need to have Tidebringer to secure the range creep. But I like here how you're starting to do, or I mean, it's not just right now, but you do that. Um, so those are all good techniques. Do you have do you spend a lot of time thinking about creep aggro or creep equilibrium?
no, not particularly unless I'm losing the lane. I don't.
Okay.
And then I think, all right, I'll have to attack him to pull the creeps back a bit. So should probably think about it more, even if I'm not losing the lane. So.
So yeah, I mean creep equilibrium. I think that's fair. Creep equilibrium is extremely important when you are losing the lane because you can use it to pull the creeps back into in safer range. So that is true. Um, just a quick note, by the way, because I'm noticing it. If you want a ward over here, you almost always want to place the ward like at the tip of this cliff here. And the reason for that is that if you do that, then the ward sees the rune. I guess maybe it does since you cut down this tree. Did you do that intentionally? Okay, maybe you're
Yeah,
better than I am.
so I done that intentionally, but I just find that if you put it on that cliff there that you pointed to, like it
Dewarded.
gets seen quite a lot. Yeah, so
I
I
guess
kind
that's
of
fair,
usually
yeah.
stick it there, and then I cut down the trees to see them more. So
I guess I don't play a lot of Quelling Blade heroes, so I didn't think of doing that. So that's smart. Okay, anyways, back to what I was saying. So yeah, if you're in a losing lane, it's good, but you should always be thinking about creep aggro because it's something that you can also abuse when you're going for what the fuck is he doing?
I don't
Um,
know.
you can also use it when you're he's going for the rune. Why isn't it showing up on the mini map?
Well, yeah. So I didn't see that it was there. Like I thought that I'd seen far enough to see that it was there, but yeah, I don't
It
know.
looks like the ward sees it, but maybe it doesn't. I don't know. That might be maybe the ward is just like there's no way though. I don't know. Anyways, let's not worry about it. Um
I thought
but
that one was playing, is it?
yeah. Yeah, so basically you want to be thinking about it in all lanes. Just because it is so powerful. So for example, you can use just not even when you're playing Kunkka, but like you can use creep equilibrium and creep aggro to set up plays where you like bait your range creep, like you pull the creeps and then you bait your range creep, force them to go on it, the creeps are behind them and then you can go on them and stuff like that. And anyway, so I want you to start thinking about that more. And so one specific thing is that you can use creep equilibrium in a very specific way to make your Tidebringer not them to deny the range creep. And the way that you do that is by pulling your creeps or pulling their creeps immediately. And if they also pull the creeps, then if they also pull the creeps, then you'll have this like situation where the wave splits apart. And if that happens, then you can use your Tidebringer to cleave the range creep down. Um,
Yeah.
so let's see, let me try to demo it. It's kind of hard to do. Um, the most important thing of that idea though is just you just need them to pull it to creep aggro. That's like the most important thing. That's weird. You just want them to creep aggro, and you can do that by running at them, or you can do that by usually you almost always I find that uh if you pull their creeps, so like this. So you aggro your creeps back, they aggro their creeps back, and then it's like this. And then usually it's kind of weird that it's this far apart, but either you can just use the extra Tidebringer damage to kill the range creep, or you can aggro the creeps closer and then Tidebringer off of them to kill it. But I think that's like a super key Kunkka tactic is that idea of just pulling these creeps back, and if they don't aggro, well, first of all, that can give you space to just Tidebringer like that, but almost they will always aggro, and then you have a situation like this. This is what I was trying to get at before, where like now their range creep is dying to your melee, and then you can either walk up if there's a creep near enough to get it, or you can just cleave off of a closer creep, which you can also do by if their creeps are too far away, you can pull them to you, get behind them, and then cleave. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so I think maybe even especially with Kunkka, creep aggro is super important. In order to manipulate, because like you can basically control where their creeps are in order to get good Tidebringers. Um, like if I pull away and then like they're too far away to get the Tidebringer, I can just pull them back this way and then get them close enough. And then if I had Tidebringer up, I could use it to secure the ranged creep. So these are things that I think it looks like you're not really thinking about, and I think you should just start thinking about those techniques. Does that make sense? I guess that was kind of a
Yeah,
lot.
I don't. Yeah, I kind of don't think about it. And as I say, unless I'm like losing the lane, then I
Yeah.
start to think about it.
And I mean, creep equilibrium and creep aggro is a concept that goes very deep. So like, I'm still learning new techniques and stuff. So like, you'll always be learning new creep equilibrium stuff and ways to control the equilibrium. And so just right now, I want you to just start, paying attention to it so that you can start learning that kind of stuff. Um, I think the only other comment I have in this lane is that I think you're wasting a lot of mana to force out his dissimulate. But other than that, I think there's not a lot to talk about.
The Slardar just gets too fat in this game, and we end up losing.
Okay, so basically, lane is sort of over. What do you think are like what is your main kind of like what is your idea for thinking about the mid game or just the post laning phase part? What are your
I don't know. For
objectives?
me, there's a few key like items that I need, like I feel I need, like, so definitely need blade mail here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would start roaming, is what I kind of thought. And then I would move into Radiance and then start kind of creeping a lot. But so I'm
Okay.
going to waste multi here, but it gets me away. So I thought that was a reasonable trade. So.
I can see that. I think yeah, so it sounds like basically you're focusing on farming your blade mail. Um
Yeah.
which makes sense. I think that you're if you're doing that, you're probably not making the most out of your hero. I think that I would like to see you do two things. Basically, I want you to kind of. I think it's okay to farm, but I want you to play more active, I guess. You're kind of just like waiting for them to go on you, and then you kind of just use your spells and hope that it works out. Almost always, though, the problem with Kunkka when that happens, like you always kind of want fights to begin with Ghost Ship, because if you get jumped and then you Ghost Ship, usually you're gonna have lost half of your HP at that point, and so like Ghost Ship is not going to provide as much value. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think Kunkka in general is always going to be stronger when he's on the offensive, when he's the one catching someone with Ghost Ship and X, and then a fight happens after that. So I think that's one thing I would point out. And the other thing is that you've missed like the first 4 runes. That's another, especially since you came out of the lane ahead of Void Spirit. I think that's like another thing that you could have improved on is by making those a priority, pushing in the lane with Tidebringer, and making sure that you, on one hand, it's good that you had an observer ward to see the rune, but you could also buy 2 sentries and ensure that he doesn't have a ward to see the runes as well.
Yeah.
And I think, like, especially if you are committed to just like sitting in this lane basically and farming, then like you should at least do that for your team. Otherwise, like, you know, you're yeah, you're sitting in your lane, but you're also like allowing Void Spirit to like fuck with your side lanes as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
It's yeah, it's funny. You just don't see so much when you're in the middle of the game. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think whenever you're playing Kunkka, that idea of like my hero is at its strongest using its spells. I mean, first of all, you should always be trying to get value out of your spells whenever they're up, you know? Like even when you're trying to farm, it's like, you know, I mean, anti-mage, I mean, your hero is very dangerous for anti-mage because you have X and you have high physical damage. Like, you know, a Kunkka rotation is probably one of the scariest rotations for anti-mage to deal with for those two reasons. And so, like, if you're not going to the side lane whenever Ghost Ship is up and trying to kill AM, I think you're like it's just an economic thing. Like, you're just not getting the gold from that. You're not securing that map control. You're just not getting the value. You know.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you have like a Midas and you're just like not using it. It's like, oh, just need to use that Midas when it's up, bro. You know, got to Midas up that anti mage with your Ghost Ship.
Yeah. That makes sense. I think in this game I also should have spotted like the Slardar was getting out of control in lane. Like I think he had 5-0 by before the laning phase was even over.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel as if I should have like teleported there.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I also think it can be a mistake to like, oh, the Slardar's out of control. I need to go to the Slardar lane. I think that could be a mistake too, because you can imagine like, let's go on Slardar. He's the tankiest hero, so he's gonna take some time to kill. So I go top. I use all my spells on Slardar, and then before he dies, his entire team has time to TP, and then it's very sad, you know. So like another thing that you could do again is to go to the lane in which you're strong, and then you force a fight there. Slardar is the one to TP, and then by the time he's TP'd, we've killed 2 heroes, and then like he just can't fight us in that situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that like I'm not saying I'm not saying that's always the bad idea, but I think specifically against like these tanky heroes, just like running to their lane and just throwing all of the spells at them is very risky. It can be very risky because if they survive and their teammates rotate, you kind of get fucked. If it was like you know, if like I'm trying to think of an example. Like if it's like a sniper or something, like fine, you know, you can blow that guy up in like a teleportation time, basically. Like before anyone has the chance to TP, he's gonna be dead because it's a sniper. But that's not how Slardar is.
Yeah, I mean the EM doesn't even come on the line this game. Like it's just like, and I actually feel pretty confident just dealing with him. Like it's like Kunkka's pretty good counter to be honest. So
I'm interested in this Radiance purchase. What was your thinking behind it?
I just kind of always go, but also
Yeah.
it would stop blink daggers as well. So is what I thought.
Yes. Blink like Slardar blink? Tusk
Yeah,
blink?
so Slather blink. Yeah, yeah.
I don't
I
really
think
think
Tusk
of
got one as well. Can't remember.
I don't really think of Radiance as being. I guess it sort of is a good blink cancel. Let's see. The radius is 650. How far is blink? I mean, so like blink dagger is like twice the range. So you're saying people blinking in or blinking out?
No, blinking in. To be honest, it's
Oh,
probably
okay.
a hangover from when I used to play Hon, because you would, if you've heard of that, Heroes in New Earth.
Yeah, yeah.
It, I used to play that. I mean, a lot back in the day. So like, you would buy what was the equivalent of Radiance for that to stop Portal Key. It was called Blink Dagger.
Hmm.
But obviously the Radiance, the radius might be different in that game.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess I've never thought about Radiance like that. I think I'm just from a theoretical perspective, I'm not sure it's going to work that well
It's double the
because
range. Yeah.
the range is just too small on Radiance compared to Blink. Um, and I'm seeing that. I mean, I think Radiance is probably the main reason I would buy Radiance is, and if I'm against an illusion hero, I think that it can be good. Or if I think that the game is gonna go long and I just want some more farming capability. Because like it is a good fighting item. It's not the best fighting item that you can get for like what is it, 4,800 gold, 4,700 gold. Um, so I don't believe that Radiance is the best choice here, especially because it's also just not that good. I think against high HP heroes like, Slardar, Tusk, Ogre. Anti-Mage has magic resistance, right? Um, so they're just I think they can kind of just tank Radiance damage without having to care. Um, Also, at the point that you're buying the Sacred Relic, you
Yep.
know, they have taken almost out all of your outer towers, and you have taken one of their tier ones. um, and so like again from that perspective of like farming, like again I think I tend to think of Radiance as not necessarily primarily, but it's sort of it's a significant farming item. Um, like that's one of its main purposes is to accelerate your farm. And so, like, even though you have this radiance, an important consideration is like, am I even going to have the space to farm with it when I get it? If you again believe that there are like a BKB, for example, like a BKB is just a better fighting item. Even maybe BKB isn't that good this game because they have a lot of BKB piercing stuff, but there are. I'm just operating under the assumption that Radiance is not the best way that you can spend 4,700 gold to take team fights at 24 minutes.
Yeah.
Like for example, probably an armor item here would have been good. Probably a Lotus Orb here would have been really nice. Dispel Corrosive Haze gives you extra armor. The Reflection, they have a lot of single target spells with Snowball and you know two of Ogre's spells, Mana Void, but mostly just to get rid of Ignite and Corrosive Haze. So I think Lotus would have been really cool here. Halberd, obviously super good against Slardar if he's really far ahead. Spirit Vessel would have been a decent pickup here. Makes you a bit tankier and also helps you kill Slardar. I think there are better options here if you recognize that the state of the game where like, oh nice, I have this Radiance. Wait a minute, we don't have any wards on the map. Well, this is gonna suck.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
This could definitely sometimes work out, but um I think the only time where like buying a farming item like this would work is if you have like some insane high ground defense. But even then, like it would have to be something probably like a Midas. Like it's just like a map control thing. Like you need to be able to have the map control to make use of this radiance, I think. Like, the team fight here is not that bad. Like you guys are doing pretty good. I just think like if you had a different item, you could be the center of these team fights and just be the guy that walks out. It's like fucking go on me, and then like you do that, and then you have a bunch of heroes on your team that like to see like they don't want to start the team fight. They like to see where the enemy heroes are. Like Slark wants to see where the backliners are. And Slark definitely doesn't want to get jumped. And so if you can just be that guy that just runs in front and like tanks a million spells and damage with Lotus, I think that would be really good.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
That latter point about like thinking of yourself as like basically thinking about what your job is. that's something that I see a lot of is like I think some like people don't when they're making item decisions they don't think about like what am I intentionally trying to do in team fights. They just buy stuff that's good on their hero in general, which is fair. I think a lot of people do that, but I think like when it comes to taking your item decisions to the next level, like thinking really carefully about like what is it exactly in team fights that I want to do, or not even just in team fights, but like what is it in this game that I want to do, you know? Like maybe you buy travels because you feel like split pushing is super important, or you know you buy a Midas because you think the game is going to go really late, or in this case, um, you know sometimes you can get like Shadow Blade on Kunkka and like try to like if you guys were ahead in this game, you might want to go a Shadow Blade and be like, oh, I'm just gonna run around with Slark and pick this anti mage off, like stuff like that. Um,
Yeah.
and that I mean
It's
that's
funny.
sorry, you go.
I think people at my level just kind of follow the guides. So like,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, they kind of every guide recommends Radiance, so you kind of like go Radiance. Do you know what I mean? So
Well, and to be fair, like that moment where you're like, okay, I need to decide what my first item is, and then trying to make a decision as to what specifically it is that you want to do in this game. Like, what is your job in this game? That is something that to make the good decisions, though, to make good decisions there, you have to have a lot of knowledge about the game and a lot of experience with it. Like, on a very fundamental level, if you don't know, like a new player, if you don't know what it is that every hero in the game does and what they want to do and like what their spells are and what items they build, making that decision is going to be very difficult because you don't know what it is that your team wants from you. Like you can look at a game and be like, "Oh man, like we like against their heroes, we I should be a frontliner." But what if you also have a centaur on your team? Like, okay, well maybe I don't need to be a frontliner in this game. And so, while it is like a super important consideration, it is something that you need to develop it. I think I mean it just you have to know a lot about the game and in order to make those kinds of decisions well, I guess.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, you need to understand all the heroes in your team and all the heroes in their team as well, which I don't fully yet. So
Well, and even beyond that, because like there are times like I think you're going to I mean, there are there are people who have a lot of knowledge about the game and don't think about that. That's a problem. Um, but also, even if you do start thinking about it, like I still have games. Most games that I lose, I'm like my interpretation of like a significant reason we lost is my interpretation of my job in this game was wrong in some way. And so like there's times um where I'm like, oh, I really need to like focus on jumping the back line or something. And then that just doesn't work out. And I'm like, oh, I was wrong about that. You know, like that's not what we needed. Or, you know, I'll be playing, um, I don't know. I'll be playing like Arc Ward and I'm like, oh, I need to be a frontliner. It's like, no, you actually needed to be able to catch this like, I don't know, Crystal Maiden or someone who's like getting a lot of high value spells out. So like I think you're always going to be getting better at that. But the first step is to be thinking about it at all, and trying to have coming up with a clear concept for or clear idea of like what it is that you actually want to do in this particular game.
yeah, so that makes sense. Especially we didn't have a tanky hero in our team, so
Mm-hmm.
it should have fallen to me to build probably tanky. So that makes sense.
I think we talked about a lot of interesting stuff. Do you have any questions?
No, not at this stage. To be honest, I think there's a lot to go and practice and think about. To be honest, so
Okay.
at
Well,
this stage. So.
um, you go and practice all that stuff. And if you come up with any questions or you want to meet up again, just let me know and we'll figure something out. Is it all right if I post this session to my YouTube channel for other people to learn from?
Yeah, of course, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, no
Awesome. I
worries at
appreciate it.
all.
Yeah, well, it was fun talking and hopefully I'll talk to you later.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully I'll find a puck game for you. I really want to learn and nail pucks. So
For sure. All right.
thanks very
Sounds
much.
good.
Cheers.
See ya.
Cheers.